Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom TV. Hey there, welcome to a journey that's gonna hit hard and leave you stronger. If you're here, you're probably someone who's ready to face the raw, unfiltered truth and take back control of your life. We're diving deep into a mindset shift inspired by the ancient Stoics. Think Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, but reimagined for the chaos of today's world. This isn't some soft self-help talk or a feel-good meditation. This is a battle cry, a call to arms for the brave ones ready to reclaim their minds and build an unshakable calm, no matter what storms life throws at them. Let's get into it. Picture this. You're holding a prism up to a single beam of light. That beam is pure, neutral, just existing. But as it passes through the prism, it splits into a spectrum of color shreds, blues, greens, each shade determined by the angle, the shape, and the clarity of the glass. The Stoics saw our minds as that prism. The events of the world, they're the light. They roll in without meaning, without intention, and without the power to hurt you unless we give it to them. What we feel, what we experience, depends entirely on how our minds bend, twist, or clarify that light. Marcus Aurelius put it best when he said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your perception shapes everything. The color of your soul, your emotional state, your peace or your torment. These don't come from the world, they come from how you see it. But let's be clear, this isn't a gentle reflection on life's unpredictability or a cozy meditation on chaos. This is a wake-up call for the few who dare to take charge of their minds, to discipline their thinking until it stands firm against life storms, unmoved by insults and immune to the illusion that we can control everything. Here's the hard truth. The world will never be calm. It's a mess out there, always has been, always will be. But you can be calm. That's the one thing you've got power over. Sometimes just getting up and living takes real courage. Every morning, you step into a world full of uncertainty, conflict, loss, and expectations. That takes grit, the kind of quiet bravery that doesn't get enough credit. It's not the big, flashy acts of heroism that define us. It's the daily grin, the ability to get up one more time, face one more challenge, and keep going when life feels like it's crushing you. The Stoics got this better than anyone. They knew that the courage to endure, to keep going without whining, to push forward when everything's against you, that's the foundation of every other virtue. The chapters ahead aren't just theory. They're practical, actionable blueprints, each one a stepping stone toward what the Stoics called apatheia, freedom from being enslaved by your emotions, freedom from being tossed around by things you can't control. We're not just gonna talk philosophy here. We're gonna live it. We'll walk through the trials, the discomforts, and the mental exercises that'll train your mind to stay calm no matter how wild things get. Because a strong mind, just like a strong body, isn't something you're born with, it's forged through resistance, repetition, and brutal honesty. Let's break it down. You are the prism, and the world is chaotic. People will let you down. Life will throw curveballs. Things will spiral out of your control. Circumstances won't bend to your wishes, and folks will rarely act the way you want them to. The Stoics didn't sugarcoat this, they stared it straight in the face and embraced it without flinching. They taught that it's not the external world, the chaos, the noise, the storms that messes us up. It's how we interpret it. It's not the storm that throws the sailor off. It's how he sees the storm. The events of the world are like that beam of light entering your mind, neutral, indifferent, without meaning or malice. Whether it's tragedy, betrayal, hardship, or even a stroke of good luck, what comes out the other side's row or strength, bitterness or growth, rage or resolve, it's your call. The Stoics believed the mind is the ultimate filter, the one thing in life's equation you can always control. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who had the weight of an empire on his shoulders. Every morning, he woke up not to peace, but to a battlefield of political backstabbing, betrayal, illness, and war. His empire was on the brink of collapse. His allies were plotting against him, and his own body was falling apart. Yet, in the quiet hours before the chaos of the day began, he'd sit down and write, not as an emperor, but as a student of life. In those private Reflections, later collected as meditations, he'd remind himself, you have power over your not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about that. A guy with the world crumbling around him, surrounded by deception, disease, and death, kept coming back to the same truth. Calm and strength don't come from a lack of problems, they come from mastering how you see them. That's where we start, not by trying to control what can't be controlled, not by forcing the world to fit your plans, but by learning to control how you perceive it. Step back from the noise and look not just at the events, but at the layers of meaning you've wrapped around them. We've gotta become ruthless custodians of our inner dialogue, aware of how the stories we tell ourselves about each situation can either trap us or set us free. It takes brutal honesty to admit how often we blow things out of proportion. A sideways glance, a missed call, a change in plans, these turn into insults, betrayals, or disasters, not because they are, but because we make them that way. The Stoics teach us to strip those stories down, to boil life back to its raw facts, and then deliberately choose how we'll frame them. When you start noticing the narratives you've built around what happens, you take back control of your experience. You stop being a victim of your own mind and start being the author of your story, a story of agency, not chaos, clarity, not confusion. Here's a practical step. Every evening, grab a notebook and write down 3 things that threw you off that day. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic, your boss snapped at you, or a friend didn't text back. Next to each one, write down how you could have seen it differently. How would a Stoic reframe it? That traffic incident, it's just a car moving. It doesn't have to mean disrespect. Your boss's tone, it might be their stress, not your failure. That friend, they're probably just busy. This exercise isn't about ignoring your feelings, it's about choosing which ones get to stick around. Over time, you'll start crafting a narrative that empowers you, one that lets you face life with resilience, poise, and the kind of grace the Stoics lived by. That's where real freedom lives, not in a perfect world, but in deciding what the world's imperfections mean to you. Emotions are contagious. You soak up what you surround yourself with, like a sponge dropped in muddy water. Hang around outrage, anger, or anxiety, and you'll absorb it without even noticing. Let insults, envy, or bitterness linger in your mind, and they become your masters, dictating your mood and clouding your thoughts. The emotional vibe you breathe in becomes the air of your inner world. Epictetus nailed it with his usual sharp clarity. If someone tried to take control of your body, you'd fight for your freedom. Yet how easily you hand over your mind to anyone who insults you. That's not just a zinger, it's a mirror showing how quick we are to surrender our peace. Modern science backs up what the Stoics figured out centuries ago, without fancy brain scans. Mirror neurons in your brain fire up when you see someone else stressed, scared, or pissed off. Their agitation ripples through your system like an invisible current. Without mental hygiene, you soak up those vibes, blending your emotions with theirs until you can't tell what's yours and what's not. You walk into a room full of tension or panic, and hours later, you're still carrying that energy, not because it's yours, but because you absorbed it without realizing. It sneaks in, darkening your mood, tightening your chest, racing your thoughts with a restlessness that doesn't even belong to you. Today's world cranks this up to 11. We're not just dealing with the emotions of people around us, we're bombarded by digital noise. The news cycle thrives on feeding you outrage, conflict, and fear, colonizing your thoughts until it drives your behavior. Social media algorithms make sure the most divisive, infuriating content bubbles to the top, dripping anxiety and anger into your system with every scroll, every headline, every notification. It's a slow poisoning of the soul. But here's the good news, it's not inevitable. You can't stop others from being angry, anxious, or rude, but you can stop yourself from mirroring them. You can draw a line between their chaos and your inner peace. This isn't about being cold or apathetic, it's about sovereignty over your own mind. It's emotional discipline at its highest level, the sacred responsibility to choose, moment by moment, what emotions you let take root. It's deciding whether you'll be ruled by someone else's storm or stay steady in your own calm. It's guarding your inner peace like a soldier guarding a fortress, not casually, not occasionally, but fiercely, knowing your entire well-being depends on it. Try this for a day. Practice emotional fasting. When someone tries to rile you up, whether it's a rude comment, a stressed-out coworker, or a negative news story, imaging their words bouncing off an invisible shield around your mind. Observe them, but don't absorb them. Notice their frustration without taking it on. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about protecting your peace so you can respond with clarity, not react out of habit. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel when you stop carrying everyone else's baggage. To be calm is to be present, rooted in the here and now, not swept away by what ifs or what was. Anxiety lives in the future, born from uncertainty and imagination, obsessing over things that haven't happened and might never happen. Regret, on the other hand, haunts you from the past, replaying yesterday's mistakes, chaining you to things you can't change. The Stoics saw the simple truth: peace only exists in the present moment. It's in this breath, this step, this second, that your power lives. Seneca said it perfectly: true happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. Happiness, serenity, calm lie not in the projections of tomorrow or the reruns of yesterday. They're right here, pure and free, like a clear sky with no clouds. Every time you replay an insult, you're giving up the present. You let someone's careless words steal your time twice when they said it, and again every time you relive it. Every time you worry about what might happen tomorrow, you're wasting energy on shadows that might never show up. A Stoic knows that all problems start when your mind leaves the now, when you mentally jump to a future that isn't real or a past you can't fix. You're abandoning the only thing you truly have, this moment. Being calm isn't about dodging challenges, it's about anchoring yourself in the present, rooted in what is, unmoved by what was or what might be. A mind trained to stay present is like a still lake, reflecting the sky without being rippled by passing clouds. Thoughts of the future might pop up, but they glide across the surface without stirring the depths. Memories of the past might visit, but they drift away like leaves on a breeze. It's a practice, a discipline, a choice you make over and over until it becomes second nature. Here's the secret: the more you return to the present, the stronger you get. The less you let your mind wander into sorrow or anxiety, the more unshakable you become. Every time you pull yourself back to this moment, you build resilience that chaos can't touch. Calm isn't something you find out there, it's something you build inside, one breath at a time. It's not about silencing your mind. Completely, that's impossible, but about redirecting your thoughts with patience and discipline, like a rider guiding a restless horse. Your life is happening right now in this breath, this step, this moment. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. This second is where your power lives, where thought meets action, where awareness meets reality. The present isn't just a fleeting point in time, it's the axis of your entire existence, the forge where your character is shaped, the arena where your virtue is tested. It's where you choose wisdom over impulse, clarity over confusion, courage over fear. It's where you rewrite your story, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate choices. Try this: carry a small coin in your pocket. Every time you catch your mind drifting to the past or future, touch the coin. Let it be an anchor, pulling you back to this moment, this breath. Over time, you'll notice how much calmer you feel when you stop living in what's gone or what's not here yet. The present is where your strength lives. Claim it. A calm mind isn't built in comfort, it's forged in adversity, hammered into shape like iron on an anvil. The Stoics knew resilience doesn't grow in softness or luxury. It's in discomfort, challenge, and self-imposed hardship that your mental muscles get stronger. They practiced voluntary discomfort not because they were masochists, but because they were warriors in training, preparing for life's unpredictable punches. They deliberately put themselves in tough spots, going without food, sleeping on hard floors, or facing the cold, because they knew that if you can handle discomfort by choice, you'll be way less rattled when it shows up uninvited. The difference between voluntary hardship and unexpected suffering is preparation. When discomfort becomes familiar, it loses its power to scare you. It turns from a battlefield into a training ground. When you deny yourself small comforts, when you step outside what's easy, you teach your mind a crucial lesson. Calm isn't something you get from perfect conditions, it's something you carry inside. No matter the conditions. By embracing voluntary discomfort, you vaccinate yourself against future hardship. You train your mind to stay steady when life gets rough. This isn't just about physical toughness, it's mental and emotional too. When you tackle something new, something you've avoided out of fear of failure, you're stepping into that same fire. Every beginner feels awkward. Every new skill feels like a mess. Every new challenge feels like a storm of confusion. But when you lean into that discomfort, when you push through the frustration of not knowing, you become a student of hardship. You learn not just the skill, but the bigger lesson. Failure isn't a threat, it's a teacher. Every mistake sharpens you. Every stumble builds persistence. You discover that the fear of failure was worse than failure itself. Each small act of voluntary hardship, skipping a meal, waking up early, or facing a fear whispers to your mind, I can endure, I can withstand, I am in control. Those whispers build into a belief, and that belief becomes who you are in. Identity rooted in inner strength, not external ease. Calm isn't given, it's earned, shaped, and practiced until it's unbreakable. Here's a challenge. Pick one small discomfort this week. Skip a meal and feel the hunger. Take a cold shower and stand there without flinching. Tackle a task you've been avoiding because it feels too hard. Notice how each choice makes you feel stronger, more in control. You're not just toughening up, you're proving to yourself that you don't need perfect conditions to be okay. That's the kind of calm that lasts. Life doesn't play by your rules. People will let you down, systems will fail, promises will break, and challenges will pop up when you least expect them. These disruptions are inevitable, but the Stoics saw them as opportunities. Every obstacle is a teacher. Every hardship a chance to sharpen your mind and strengthen your spirit. They're not deterrents, they are the path itself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not just poetry, it's a practical guide for dealing with life's messes. The things we resist, the barriers we hate, are exactly what shape us, teach us, and prepare us for what's next. A calm mind doesn't curse obstacles, it welcomes them as a gem for the soul. Each difficulty is a weight to lift, a challenge to rise to, an invitation to grow stronger. When plans fall apart, a Stoic doesn't see failure, they see a lesson. When people let them down, they don't stew in betrayal, they focus on responding with grace. Every setback becomes a chance to practice patience, perseverance, and perspective. Obstacles stretch us beyond what we thought we could handle. They force us to get creative, adapt, and stay patient. They strip away our illusions of control and show us who we really are. In the heat of adversity, your mind gets tempered not in ease, but in resistance. Each challenge teaches humility, reminding us we're not entitled to a smooth ride, but we are responsible for how we handle the rough one. Obstacles refine us, exposing the parts of our character that comfort can't touch, your hidden fears, fragile egos, impulses to quit when things get tough. They shine a light on where we need to grow, where our self-image is shaky, where our wisdom hasn't been tested. But instead of breaking us, they become the forge where we decide who we want to be. When life throws you a curveball, you're at a crossroads not just of action, but of identity. Do you shrink or rise? Do you react or get wise? Do you let the obstacle drag you down, or do you use it to build a better you? The more you face challenges without complaining, the more you see them as mirrors reflecting your weaknesses, strengths, and untapped potential. They're not burdens, they're chapters in your growth story. Each obstacle, when embraced, becomes a tool, shaping your character, turning frustration into fuel, setbacks into strategy, pain into purpose. Next time something goes wrong, pause before reacting. Say out loud, "This is my training." Watch how your mindset shifts when you see hardship as a lesson, not a punishment. Over time, you'll start to see obstacles not as walls, but as windows new ways to understand yourself and the world. That kind of clarity, no amount of comfort can teach you that. Your attention is the gatekeeper of your inner life. What you focus on, people, ideas, task shapes your character. Where your attention goes, your energy follows, and where your energy flows, your life takes shape. The Stoics guarded their attention like hawks. They knew that letting gossip, outrage, or trivial stuff into your mind pollutes your peace. They compared the mind to a garden and attention to the water that feeds it. Water the weeds, anger, envy, fear, and that's what grows. Water discipline, clarity, courage, and your inner garden thrives. Today, we're drowning in distraction. News feeds, arguments, ads, they're all fighting to grab your attention. Every phone ping, every headline, every social media scroll is a trade, your awareness for stimulation. But most of that stimulation isn't there to lift you up. It's designed to provoke, to agitate. It drains your energy, fractures your focus, and erodes your calm. We're pulled in 1,000 directions every hour, and each pull chips away at our ability to stay steady. These distractions aren't neutral. They are training your mind to jump, to react, to crave the next hit of novelty. They unravel the fabric of your inner stillness, bit by bit. The Stoics would have called this mental pollution a chaos that invades your inner space, without permission, eroding the clarity you need to stay calm. The more you let it in, the harder it is to get back to peace. Your focus gets scattered, shallow, unable to dig deep into what matters. That's the hidden cost of distraction. It kills your ability to think deeply, reflect honestly, and act deliberately. Every moment you spend on the irrelevant is a moment you're not growing, not reflecting, not living fully. If you don't direct your attention with intention, the world will do it for you and not in your favor. You'll end up living reactively, not intentionally, burning mental energy on noise before the real challenges even show up. The modern world rewards this scattered state, offering endless ways to distract yourself from discomfort, numb yourself from reflection, or entertain yourself into apathy. But that's a trap. The more you indulge in mindless consumption, the harder it is to do the real work of living well, cultivating virtue, mastering your thoughts, building a strong character. To train your mind for calm, you've got to take control of what you let in. Stand guard at the gates of your attention like a sentinel. Your attention isn't just a lens, it's a force that shapes your reality. Let in only what strengthens your virtues, sharpens your thinking, and builds your stillness. Filter what you consume as carefully as you'd filter your food or water, because your mental diet will either nourish you or poison you. When you start curating what you expose your mind to, you'll notice your calm isn't so fragile anymore. Your thoughts won't be so scattered. You'll find a quiet spaciousness in your mind, a clarity that lets you think deeply, act deliberately, and face life with composure. Try this. Audit your daily info diet. This week, cut out one source of negativity or distraction. Maybe it's a news app, a toxic group chat, or endless scrolling. Replace it with something that strengthens your mind, a good book, a thoughtful lecture, or even a moment of silence. You'll be amazed at how much clearer your head feels when you stop feeding it junk. The highest form of calm isn't passive acceptance, it's an active embrace. The Stoics called it Amor, fate, love of fate. This isn't giving up or shrugging off misery. It's a bold, clear-eyed act of courage. It's welcoming every twist and turn of your life, not as an enemy, but as a piece of the puzzle that makes you who you are. It's one thing to grit your teeth through hardship. It's another to say, I welcome this. It's fuel for my growth. The Stoics believed it's not enough to tolerate what life throws at you. You've got to lean into it. To love your fate is to stop fighting reality, to quit resisting what's already happened, and instead embrace it as the raw material for your virtue. It's radical acceptance, a daring choice to make peace with the unchangeable facts of life, and then turn them into something meaningful. This mindset flips the script. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Every struggle, every betrayal, every loss becomes a lesson in disguise, a hidden gift teaching you endurance, humility, patience, and strength. Even when the world feels unfair or random, Amor, Fati invites you to dig deeper and see how these events can serve your growth. It's not about pretending pain feels good. It's about seeing that even pain has a purpose when you approach it with the right mindset. By loving your fate, you step out of victim mode and into creator mode. You take the messy stuff of life and craft wisdom from it. The hardest chapters of your story become the ones that shape you the most, turning obstacles into ingredients for a stronger, wiser soul. Friedrich Nietzsche, who was heavily influenced by the Stoics, said, "My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. To practice Amor Fati is to meet every sunrise and every storm with gratitude, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. It's yours. It's to see that what happens isn't in your control, but how you respond is. It's to face every challenge with a quiet resolve that says, this belongs to me. I'll shape it. I'll grow from it. I'll let it make me better, not bitter. The peace you're after isn't on the other side of better circumstances. It's in the choice to say, this is mine, and I'll make something good out of it. When you keep making that choice, something incredible happens. You stop fearing what life might bring. You know you can turn anything into fuel for your growth. Each morning, try this mantra: whatever happens today, I'll welcome it as necessary for my growth. Watch how it reframes your struggles, turning them from burdens into opportunities. That shift, it's the difference between being at life's mercy and mastering it. One of the simplest, most powerful tools the Stoics gave us is to delay your reaction. It sounds almost too basic to work, but it's the key to breaking the cycle of impulsive reactions that keep us stuck. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there's a split second, a tiny space. In that space lies your freedom, your chance to either let chaos take over or reclaim your calm. When someone insults you, pause. When you're angry, pause. When you're anxious, pause. When life throws a curveball, don't swing back right away, pause. That pause isn't weakness, it's strength. It's a deliberate act of taking back control over your emotions, interrupting the knee-jerk reaction that'd lead you to say or do something you'll regret. The Stoics knew the world's provocations can't hurt you unless you let them, but your own unchecked reactions can. That space between stimulus and response isn't automatic. You've got to build it, stretch it, strengthen it through practice. Every time you pause, you make that space a little bigger. You give wisdom a chance to step in before habit takes over. You create room for your better judgment to speak louder than your impulses. Most people react without thinking, trapped by habit, caught in a chain of cause and effect. A Stoic knows real power isn't in controlling others, it's in mastering yourself. This takes practice, and you'll mess up. You'll forget to pause, you'll react too fast. You'll catch yourself after the fact. That's okay, it's part of the process. Each slip-up is a lesson, a chance to try again. You might pause too late, or only after you've snapped, but even noticing that is growth. With repetition, you'll start to see that space open up. You'll catch anger before it turns to rage, fear before it spirals into panic, and insult before it becomes a wound. In that space, you'll find clarity, composure, and calm. The heart of Stoic mastery. That calm will start to feel like a friend, not a far-off goal. It'll become your default, your go-to stance in stress. But it's more than that. That space isn't just a pause, it's where you become who you are. It's the workshop where you shape your character, where you learn to respond with wisdom, not instinct, with purpose, not panic. Every pause is a quiet declaration that you won't be ruled by anything outside you. You stop being a puppet of circumstance and start being the author of your story. For 1 week, practice the Stoic pause. Whenever you feel triggered, count slowly to 5. Before responding, notice how often the urge to react fades in that pause. You'll start to see how much power you have when you give yourself that tiny moment to choose. The Stoics meditated on death daily, not to be grim, but to focus on what really matters. For them, thinking about mortality wasn't about fear, it was about clarity. A way to strip away distractions and get back to the essentials. They believed forgetting death makes you drift, losing sight of what's urgent versus what's just loud. When you remember you're dying, because we all ere you start paying attention, to how you're living. Death is the great equalizer, and for the Stoics, it was the ultimate motivator, not a shadow to fear, but a light to live by, a reminder that every moment is a finite resource. Seneca wrote, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." We freak out over small discomforts, like they're the end of the world, but waste time like we've got forever. The Stoics wanted to flip that. By remembering death, they lived more intentionally, more awake. They saw death as a teacher, one that, if you keep it in mind, cuts through distractions, vanity, and procrastination. Every day could be your last. That makes every day precious. When you meditate on death, petty stuff fades away. Arguments, social approval, the endless chase for more, they don't matter when you face the truth that time is limited. You see how miraculous it is to breathe, to love, to choose. You get less reactive, less stressed about things that don't count. You start prioritizing with wisdom, saying no to distractions and yes to what feeds your soul. Death teaches you to live on purpose, to stop wasting time on what dulls your spirit, and to chase what makes you truly alive. It pushes you to act, to forgive, to love, to risk. Memento Mori isn't about detachment, it's about being deeply alive. It's a call to presence, clarity, and courage. It reminds you your time is limited, so it's infinitely valuable. It urges you to forgive faster, speak truer, love deeper, risk bolder. It's about living with such intention that if death came tomorrow, you'd face it not with regret, but with readiness. To live in the shadow of death is to walk with light in your heart, and that light is the essence of calm. Every night, before bed, remind yourself, I may not wake tomorrow. Let me leave today in peace. Let that thought guide how you end your day, how you treat others, how you treat yourself. It'll sharpen your focus on what truly matters, bringing a calm that no distraction can touch. The Stoics didn't chase calm for its own sake, they chased virtue. Calm was just the natural result of living right. For them, a peaceful mind wasn't the goal, it was the outcome of aligning your actions with reason, discipline, and moral clarity. Peace didn't come from dodging conflict or avoiding discomfort, it came from the steady pursuit of excellence in character, earned through tough choices, effort, and a life built on principle, not convenience. Calm wasn't a luxury they indulged in, it was a consequence of doing what was right, even when it was hard. Practice justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom, and you build a mind that chaos can't touch. Justice gives you purpose beyond yourself. Courage anchors you when fear hits. Temperance keeps your desires in check. Wisdom guides you through uncertainty. These virtues are the foundation of a resilient soul. When you wake up each day and aim to live with integrity, when you speak truth even when it's tough, when you control your impulses and act with thoughtfulness, you're building stability from the inside out. Every virtuous act, no matter how small, is like a brick in the foundation of your inner fortress. You get harder to shake, tougher to offend, better at staying clear-headed in chaos. Calm comes not because the world gets quieter, but because you've cultivated stillness amid the noise. By focusing on virtue, you stop getting tossed around by external stuff. You stop begging the world to change and start changing how you meet it. You take full responsibility for how you experience life. The world stays messy, but you stay steady. You walk through storms without letting the storm inside you. Marcus Aurelius said it best, you become like the promontory against which the waves continually break, and yet it stands firm. Living virtuously trains your mind to let go of petty stuff and hold tight to what's true. You get pickier with your thoughts, more intentional with your words, more deliberate with your actions. You build an inner temple not of stone, but of values strong enough to weather any storm. That's the Stoic promise, not a life without trouble, but a life where trouble refines you, where hardship isn't a curse, but a proving ground. Here's a daily practice each morning. Pick one virtue to focus on, maybe patience, courage, humility, or discipline. Write it down and let it be your compass for the day. In every decision, every conversation, every challenge, ask yourself, what would this virtue do here? If it's patience, how would patience respond to a frustrating moment? If it's courage, What would courage demand? At the end of the day, reflect on how you did. Where did you nail it? Where did you slip? Don't beat yourself up, just learn. Over time, this practice builds a habit of living virtuously, and with it comes a calm that's quiet, unshakable, and entirely yours, a calm that doesn't need perfect conditions to exist, because you've built it from the inside out. This journey, inspired by the Stoics, is about taking back your mind and building a calm that nothing can break. You are the prism. Your perception shapes your reality. The world will always be chaotic, but you don't have to be. Guard your attention, embrace discomfort, love your fate, pause before reacting, and live with virtue. Remember your mortality to focus on what matters. Each day, each choice is a chance to forge a stronger, wiser, freer you. The Stoics didn't just give us ideas, they gave us a way to live. A way to face life's storms with courage and clarity. Start today. Pick one practice from these chapters and make it yours. You've got the tools. Now go build that unshakable calm. You've got this. If this message resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that will help you create the life you truly deserve.